إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا. ثم أما بعد، إن خير الكلام كلام ربنا وخير الهدى هدى رسولنا محمد بن عبد الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه، وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Today, this Sunday, inshallah, I think this is the last Sunday before the blessed month of Ramadan begins, the 9th month in the Hijri calendar. So we want to take advantage of this munasabah to remind all of you, to remind ourselves and those who are listening, of the virtues of fasting in the month of Ramadan. There's a person in our community, whenever it's Monday or Thursday and he's fasting, or it's a day that we're fasting, Arafat, whatever it is, when I see him, he comes to the Masjid for the Salat, he always says, we are in a ni'mah. We're in a ni'mah. And it's the reality. Al-Islam is a ni'mah, although we may not be the best examples in the world in terms of the Muslims. We have ups and downs, good and bad, positives and negatives. Nonetheless, the fact that a person is a Muslim is a ni'mah from Allah. In this dunya, it is the a'zam ni'mah that Allah bestows upon his slave. May Allah cause us to live and die on Al-Islam and guide those who we love, from our children, our relatives, especially our mothers and fathers. May He guide them and cause them to also live and die on Al-Islam. And from the greatest ni'mas in Al-Islam is the legislation of fasting. Fasting. So if we want to talk about the virtues of fasting, the month of Ramadan, we should understand that the virtues of fasting in Ramadan are of two types. Those ayat and those hadith that I remind you of today, they're of two types. The first type are the general ayat and the general hadith that tell us about the reward of fasting and the fasters and the benefits of fasting and so forth, so on. They're general. وَكَثِيرٌ مَا هِي. They are a lot. So scholars of Islam wrote books about the Sa'imin and Som and so forth and so on, just about this issue alone. Every chapter of hadith, every book of hadith, there's a chapter of fasting. Every book of fiqh, you're going to find this issue of fasting. It's too important. So you have those general ones. And then we have the specific ones. وَكَذَلِكَ. They also are a lot. So we're just going to rehearse and remind ourselves in making preparation for this tremendous aspect of Al-Islam. From those general proofs is what Allah mentioned in the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah. إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والخاشعين والخاشعات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة عظيمة. Allah mentioned these groups of people who He has made everything that He mentioned wajib upon them. And He mentioned very the believing men, the Muslim men, the Muslim women, the believing men, the believing women, the obedient men, the obedient women, the men who are truthful, the women who are truthful, the men who are fearful of Allah, the women who are fearful of Allah, the men who give sadaqah, the mutasaddiqeen and the mutasaddiqat, the men who give sadaqah, the women who give sadaqah, the men who make sawm, they fast, and the women who fast, those who protect their private parts from the men and the women, and those men who remember Allah a lot, and those women who remember Allah a lot, Allah has prepared for them a tremendous reward. So he mentioned from those people, those individuals who are fasting. And this is just a general hadith, general ayah. It didn't say fasting in the month of Ramadan. It didn't say just fasting the obligatory fast. Anybody who fasts, period. Period. And from those rewards, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, "Man sama yawman fi sabilillahi, زحزح الله وجهه عن النار بذلك 70 خريفا." Any person, man or woman, who fasts one day fi sabilillah, Allah will cause his face, his whole body, to be far away from the punishment of the fire 70 seasons. Kharif is a season, summer, fall, winter, spring. Kharif is one of those seasons, so it comes once a year. So Allah Azza wa Jal would make him far away. Some of the scholars say that hadith is talking about the one who fasts while he's making jihad, fi sabilillah. It was a dalil of the permissibility of fasting when you're traveling. And it's a dalil for the permissibility of a person who's fasting while performing jihad. But obviously we mentioned that the Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he fasted and he traveled a very far distance, he used to tell his companions, don't fast, because it was very hot. They were going a very long distance, and the Muslim has to be strong when it's time to engage the enemy. That's why one of the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, he told us, لا يتمنن أحدكم لقاء العدو. Don't wish to meet the enemy. But if you meet them, then ask Allah for thabat. Ask Allah to establish you. Because one of the major sins is people can run away from the battlefield. The major sin. So you already have the fitna of traveling, the heat, fear of death, wiswas of shaitan, all of that stuff. You don't want to add on to that anything else. So this hadith is understood by some of the scholars of Islam to mean they're fasting while performing jihad. Another scholar said, no, this is general. Anybody who fasts with ikhlas, whether he's in jihad or not, the reward for that is what was mentioned. From those general ahadith to show the virtues of fast in the month of Ramadan, especially for you young unmarried brothers, is the hadith, Ya ma'ashar al-shabab. I don't even have to continue the hadith because everybody knows the hadith. We memorize it. Ya ma'ashar al-shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'a, falyatazawwaj. فإنه أغض للفرج أغض للبصر وأحسن للفرج ومن لم يستطيع عليه بالصوم فإنه له وجاء. And you young men, if you can get married, hurry up and get married. Get married. Verily, getting married and having a wife will help you to control your eyes and not look around. And it would also be a protection for your private part, akramakumullah. And whoever doesn't have the ability to get married because he doesn't have money, doesn't have the means, the wealth, the capability, then let him fast. But verily, fasting will be a shield for him. That's general. That's in Ramadan and outside of Ramadan. So the fast of Ramadan should be a bushra for the one who's not married, whether it's a woman or whether it's a young man. So bushra, he should look at it like, alhamdulillah, Ramadan is here, because it makes a person have more taqwa, more consciousness of Allah Azza wa Jal, and it also takes away that thing about the shahwa. That's a benefit. The virtues of the month of Ramadan, 29 days, 30 days. He mentioned sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in that famous hadith of the three people who went to his homes and asked his wives sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and may Allah be pleased with all of our mothers, the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. What did the Prophet do when he was in the privacy of his home, sallallahu alayhi wasallam? And they told him, he didn't do very much. He did this, he did that, he did this. He was in the service of his family. So when those three people heard that, they thought that Rasulullah didn't do a lot. They thought it wasn't a lot. They thought that. And this is very dangerous for any Muslim to come in to look at the deeds of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the deeds of the righteous, for an example, and he looks at it being insignificant. There is nothing in the deen of Islam that's insignificant. Al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the people, do not consider any good deed as being insignificant. Someone get on this minbar like that brother Abdul Azim did. Not this khutbah, but the last one. He talked about the importance of sending the durood, the salawat on the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is an important reminder. For an example, in the month of Ramadan, all of the things that we can do, cleaning up the place, for an example, bringing food, buying cups, buying plates, serving the people, giving sadaqah, all of that, making tawbah, all of that for all of us is from the good deeds. So in this hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those men said, I'm going to fast all the time. I'm going to pray all the time. I'm never going to get married to women. When he heard that, he made inkar. And he said, what is wrong with some people? And he didn't throw them under the bus by exposing them. Although sometimes he exposed people when it needed to be done. But generally speaking, we should try to avoid mentioning people's names. You mention people's names, their sheikh, something like that. People get mad, upset. They'll never listen to what you're trying to say because they're wrapped up in the name of the individual. You may tell them the truth, but as soon as you mention his group, as soon as you mention the name of the person, he's not going to listen. So the Salaf used to prevent themselves from doing that in their students, but sometimes it's permissible. As Allah mentioned the name of Abu Lahab, the laqab, not his name, but he put him down even because he deserved that. And he made an ishara to and about his woman, وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ, and his woman. He didn't call her by the name. The people who give the tafsir of the Quran, they said, because this is from the ghairah that the Arabs used to have back then, that it's not acceptable for a man to mention another man's wife in public. Hey, tell your wife Sophia that I said salams. Don't tell your wife Sophia, you don't have to mention the name. How's your family? How's it like that? Point is, you can mention names if it's needed, it's necessary. Sometimes it's wajib. You have to not be ambiguous because the mawqif, the situation requires that you mention the name of the individual. He said, what's wrong with some people who said this and this and this? He told them, as for me, وَلَكِنِّي أَنَا أُصَلِّي وَأَنَامُ وَأُصُومُ وَأَفْطِرُ وَأَتَزَوَّجُ النِّسَاءَ فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. As for me, I pray Qiyam al-Layl, at-tahajjud, and I go to sleep. And I also fast, and I break my fast. And I also marry women. So anyone who abandons any of these things, my sunnah, is not for me. So sunnah, the sunnah of the Nabi al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that he was sawam, qawwam. He used to fast a lot, and he used to pray a lot. But he balanced that out, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with showing us the other aspects of the balance of his life. He didn't fast all the time. Sometimes he fasted so long that people said he's going to continue to fast and he's not going to break his fast. And sometimes he wouldn't fast for extended periods of time. They would say he's not going to fast ever again. And that's the balance of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those are four adillah that are general, that show the benefit and the virtues of fast in the month of Ramadan. Now we nantaqal and we deal with some of the specific ones that we want to remind you of. Because every year in and out, we hear these same ahadith, these same ayat. But as people who have iman, inshallah, and iman as-sadiq, we don't get tired of hearing these things. And maybe some you never heard. From them is the statement of Allah Ta'ala that the Imam read today. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. The month of Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed as a guidance for the people, and those things that are making things very clear for the people and what was revealed from the guidance and the Quran, the Furqan. The reason that we fast in the month of Ramadan is because the Quran was revealed in this month. It's from the virtues. It is a rukn from the arkan of al-Islam, a pillar from the 5 pillars, which goes to show us from the most important aspects of this religion. More important than those things that are not from the arkan. Also, the Imam read the ayat of the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. The companion Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, Abu Abdurrahman, that tremendous companion of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who you get a lot of the athar and a lot of statements that show us the importance and the light and the benefit of the minhaj as-salafi. I would advise that you go to Google, it has to be there, and just put in the Google the statements of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud in the minhaj. He said a lot of things, may Allah be pleased with him. He was an illustrious companion, not just a normal companion, from the ulama from amongst them, and from those ones who held on to the gates of the Sunnah, and he was prolific in that. May Allah be pleased with him. He said to the Muslims, anytime you see or hear, or you come across an ayat where Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, he said, give it your ear, pay attention, and also give it your intellect, your mind. Listen to it and pay attention to it. Because right after Allah says, oh, you who believe, Allah is going to order you to do something that is important, it is vital, it is something that is really critical. Or Allah is going to prohibit you from doing something that is dangerous, something that is problematic. So in the ayah he said, oh, you believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed on the people who be before you, in the hopes that you would learn and have and develop a taqwa. So that's from the benefits of fasting, the month of Ramadan. The month of the Quran, Ramadan is called Shahrul Quran, the month of the Quran, because it was revealed in that month. And also, in addition to that, the Quran has told us about Laylatul Qadr. Didn't the Imam read Laylatul Qadr? He read that, right? Another one of the proofs of the virtues of Ramadan, that Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months. The benefit of Ramadan. We don't have any other month with these types of virtues. The month of Ramadan is the month in which the books that have come down from the sky from Allah Azza wa Jal in the past, including the Quran, they were revealed in this month. From what was mentioned specifically, listen, is that the Prophet told a man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us, he said to that man when the man wanted the advice, he says, Sum shahr sabr, fast the month of sabr, and 3 days from every month. So he called Ramadan the month of patience. And it's patience for many reasons. And the reward of the patient is clear in our deen. When tattaqu wa tasbiru fi dhalik min azm al-umur. If you people have taqwa and you're patient, this is from the most important issues in the existence of a believer. Allah mentioned in the Quran about sabr and the people who have patience. وَلَئِن صَبَرْتُمْ لَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لِلصَّابِرِينَ. And if you were patient, your patience is better for those people who have patience. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Ya Muhammad, give glad tidings to those people who are patient. You're not married? Be patient. We're all married. We get upset. Our wives, our children, our neighbor, people we work with, be patient. You're not feeling well? Be patient. Be patient. So the month of Ramadan is that month that is a madrasa, and it teaches us how to keep this in our minds. Be patient. The month of traveling, or the month of As-Sabr. The scholars of Islam concerning Ramadan, Ikhwani, you know, the Sabr of Al-Islam that our religion is always telling us about, those many ayahs, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّ الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. People who have patience, they will be given their reward without any hisab. Don't get mad. Don't get angry and strike out. Don't do it. Be patient. Don't get upset over something that doesn't require that level of anger. It doesn't require. Sometimes you have to get angry for Allah. You have to execute that anger sometimes. But it can't be something that, you know, we don't have a grip on. So we have to be patient. We have to be patient. There are three types of patience in Islam, and Ramadan teaches all three of those patience. Patient, as the scholar said, with and on the obedience of Allah, the ta'ah of Allah, being obeyed Allah. Don't eat, don't drink, don't have relationships. Watch what you say, watch what you do all through the daytime in Ramadan. You get waswas, you want to break your fast, you can break your fast. Nobody will know you broke your fast between you and Allah, but you're patient. At the beginning of the month, it's not as easy fasting as the beginning, middle, and the end of the month. So be patient in those first 5, 6, 7, 10 days. Headaches, all of that stuff. So being patient and obeying Allah. We got to get up in the morning and we have to pray Salat al-Fajr. That woman has to wear hijab. She has to wear hijab. In this weather of Florida, she got to wear that hijab. The right hijab. She has to be patient with her husband. Husband has to be patient with the wife. We have to be patient with our children. So Ramadan is the month of patience with the obedience of Allah. Number 2, being patient concerning the ma'asiyah of Allah. Being patient and not disobeying Allah. Don't eat, don't make riba, don't make namima, no kadhib, don't waste time during the month of Ramadan. I remember distinctively, I think it was from the Illuminati, and some mu'amara, like these main sporting events, many times they come all the way in the month of Ramadan. NFL, NBA, soccer, big soccer games, they always come in the month of Ramadan, especially even in America, because these sporting events have cycles. Every Ramadan, no matter what season it's in, every Ramadan, we have this issue of watching those games, and those games competing with the month of Ramadan and the fasting. Instead of praying the Taraweeh, they watch the game. So we got to be patient. Continue to come to the Taraweeh. Do the best that you can, and so forth and so on. So being patient, the ma'asi of Allah. Lastly, the patience that's needed concerning the aqdar. Those things that Allah has written on us from the qadr. The qadr. The Salaf of this ummah used to say, al-qadru nizam al-tawheed. Qadr is like the real meaning of a tawheed is the nizam of a tawheed. How would you translate that? Nizam al-tawheed. I would say essence, I would say something like that. Nizam usually means something like a system. That's what it usually means, but you can't describe it or translate it as system here. But the point is, the qadr. When Allah has written something against you, for you or against you, you didn't get it, something hurt you, you didn't get married, your child that you were hoping was going to be born was not born, or the child was born and it was handicapped, something like that, la samahallah, whatever it is, and you're patient with that situation, it's a proof of the Tawheed. It's a proof of Tawheed. This thing has happened to me, I couldn't escape it. It doesn't mean that when something happens bad, that we say it was the qadr, and we make dalil and ihtijaj and say it's the qadr. No. We get what our hands put forward. You made that decision right there, and as a result of that, it's a fitna now. But nonetheless, you have to be patient. Ramadan is like that. During the time of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ramadan was the month of the battle of Badr. People died in that battle. They died in that battle. So it's tough fighting the month of Ramadan. So whatever happens, Ramadan is the month of patience, the month of the book of Allah, the Quran. From it as well is a special quality of Ramadan. The Nabi of Islam, he mentions sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, inna fil jannati babin yuqalu lahu ar-rayyan la yadkhuluhu illa as-sa'imun. Verily in the Jannah, there is a door called ar-rayyan. That brother's name is a Rayyan, right? Rayyan, huh? And he was born and raised in Islam, huh? In the Jannah is a door called a Rayyan. No one will enter that door except those people who fasted. Scholars said that this fast is talking about the fast of Ramadan. That he has to, and she has to be a person who fasted the month of Ramadan. But in addition to that, they fasted outside of Ramadan. But Ramadan has to be a part of the equation. And that's only in this month. Now we know the Jannah has Jannat, has Darajat, and the Jannat have different doors to it, I remind you again that the Jannah is not under the feet of the mothers, as a hadith is weak, but no doubt a person's parents can get him into the doors of Al-Jannah, the Birru Walidain. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. From those doors are the ones that are exclusive and specific for the month of Ramadan. Is there a door for Hajj? Is there a door for hijab? Is there a door for jihad? Is there a door for salah? No. There's a door called Ar-Rayyan. Doesn't take away the importance of salah, which is more important than Ramadan. At-Tawheed is the key to all of the doors of Al-Jannah. Because if a person is making shirk with Allah, he's not getting into any of those doors. May Allah protect us from a Tawheed, from a Riyah, and from swearing by other than Him. And may Allah protect us from His shirk. Shukran ya akhi. So these are some of the reminders, Ikhwani, concerning the virtues of the month and follow and fasting in the month. And want to say those people who don't fast because they have been exempt from fasting. That doesn't mean it's time to take a break. Ramadan is the month of jihad. It's the month of the Quran. It's the month of sadaqah. So read more of the Quran. Hear more of the Quran. Give more. Today, when I came to the Masjid for Dhuhr, I saw a lady driving away, and it was almost time for Salat. I wonder, what is she doing here? Why is she here at this particular time? And when I came in, one of the brothers, Abu Anas, he said, look at this. The lady brought those dates. So she's the first person who brought dates. And I mean about 20 boxes of dates. 20 boxes of dates. So the fact that she's a woman didn't prevent her from bringing those dates. I don't know who paid for those dates, but she brought them here. Everybody who eat from those dates in the month of Ramadan, inshallah, she brought them here. She's going to get some reward from that. So don't take any breaks other than the necessary breaks to rejuvenate yourself and to get back on the square. Because if you get tired, you lose your mojo. If you stay tired throughout the whole month, you lose your mojo. So if you just get tired, take a break. Take a break that day. Just take it easy. Maybe you don't come to the masjid. Maybe you pray Salatul Tarawih sitting down, for an example. You get in where you fit in. Do what you need to do. But what we can't afford to do is to allow the Shaitan al-Rajim to come to one of us and to make us look at Ramadan as a way that is not acceptable. No, we're going to look at Ramadan with love and affection and raghbah. We would desire this month to come because we become better people. All of us, we become better people in the month of Ramadan. So may Allah Ta'ala write a successful Ramadan for all of us, inshallah. Okay, brothers, my brothers, if you brothers have any questions or comments about what was mentioned in today's lesson, the virtues of Ramadan, then you can feel free. هات الذي عندك أخي. What